This episode of Old Roommates was made possible by listeners like you and special Patreon member Josh Black. Thank you for your support of Old Roommates. Enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit The Omen from 1976. So roll up those windows. We're entering the baboon area of Old Roommates.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And we're revisiting The Omen. Oh, 666, Damien, and all these crazy things that we remember, I think. Brian, where were you the first time you saw The Omen?
I don't know if you're hearing crinkling. I think it's safe to say. Can we say this, right? Because
It's okay.
it speaks to your dedication.
We are, yes, it's
Christina's had a mishap. Was Damien anywhere in sight?
No. Well, I don't know. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe
but she
he was.
hurt her ankle and she has ice packs all over it.
Yeah, so you might hear some ink.
We appreciate her dedication.
Yeah. You might
So here's Then. We start as we always do with Then, 1976. I mean, obviously I wasn't watching this at 4. I was 4 years old.
Right.
But
although who knows? You're always saying
it's
your
true.
father let you watch whatever you wanted.
That's very true, but they were not divorced then.
Oh,
so
okay,
I probably did watch this when I was like 10, 12, whatever, But I remember feeling like, oh wait, this is like real. And isn't that so weird?
Oh,
so I was like
wow.
young, like 10 or 11 or 12, whatever. And I was like, I remember watching and being like, oh, this is like real. Like this something about it was real. Like
wow.
It's like about God and the Bible and this
it brings that into it.
Because remember, for the first 3 grades, I went to parochial school.
Yeah.
So it was like my relationship with, say, the Catholic Church was very different. And it was like, oh God, this is like they're bringing the Bible up, and there's priests and nuns,
and the church,
and there's a child involved, and like it's weird. And then I'm gonna be honest, I think like, and I think I watched this in chunks. Like one when I was very young, I think I probably watched it until she fell, and I remember being a kid and being like, oh God, her head's gonna splat, and I remember like not watching, and then I stopped. Then I sort of stopped watching, and then only like later on in probably my 20s, I saw the ending sucked on like one of those VH1 shows, like the scariest moments of horror movies,
And then here you go.
And then in my like I think I was 31. Here's the weird thing. I remember watching it, and I thought I was watching it with Carl. I was like, I don't know if we watched that together, but I think I was like drinking because
interesting.
When we get to now, there are absolutely things I never remembered.
There's like easily 60% of this movie I didn't remember.
So what about you? When was the first time you saw this?
So I was an adult the first time I saw this. I was in college, and I remember, and I was definitely drinking. But we were like, it must have been around like Halloween, and someone had like the VHS tape, and we were all just sort of like watching it together. And I remember it being very creepy and scary. Just the fact that there's a child involved, is just it crosses a line, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, whoa. And I mean, not to jump to the end, but the fact that they're like, we got to kill that child.
Yeah.
Like, what? Really? It's a child. But I remember it being super creepy. I remember the music a lot from back then, and just being like, this is weird. And I remember it going over my head a little bit with like all the sermons and the poetry and whatever, all that stuff. I remember that going over my head, and I really almost feel like I don't remember any of the middle part, so I feel like I must have left and came back or something.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
It's like that I remember chunks of this movie, but not in chronological order. Mm-hmm. There are parts of this movie where I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen this. can we jump into now?
Yeah, let's jump into now.
I didn't know the mother never knew that this was not their child.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know. I'm like watching this, like, wait. They're switching the baby,
Without
and they're not going to tell the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I even wrote my notes like, wait, what? They didn't tell the mom? She didn't know? How fast did that happen? It's like, he gets a phone call. The baby is dead. He, like, hails a cab.
Yeah, I know. I love.
What does she think? What is she thinking? Was she like?
Well,
she was
think
drugged
back
out.
then, women got knocked out to have a baby. I don't think it's not like today
Natural
when you're like watching it all. I think they just knock them out, and then you wake up and you have a baby in your arms. So it could absolutely have happened that way.
Yeah,
but it was really, really.
Yeah, it's like she came to and like, here's your baby. But it's like, it was interesting, like how layered it was and how serious it was. I appreciated, like, it was like very heavy, like, this is a gift from God. Mm-hmm. God, basically killed the mother, and, your child didn't, and it's like, now here we are. A baby needs a mother. There's no one else.
There's no other family.
No other family members.
And it was very convenient. Like, it made sense.
It made some sense.
Right? I could see him agreeing to it. Like, and I know he wasn't immediately going to.
They talk about her miscarriages. They talk about how much she's wanted one. They talk about, like, not being able to. And it's like, what if this really is, like, the Lord working? I mean, they're clearly, like, religious, they're clearly religious people. They go to church and, like, and all that. So it's like, and
were they in, like, I was unclear. Were they in, like, a church having this baby?
Is it like a church hospital? I don't know.
Yeah. It was very ominous.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
It was a bit strange. Maybe that was part of the whole thing.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is like that.
There.
Like, a lot of this movie is like that.
Yeah.
Probably intended.
I had an, oh my God, I'm an idiot moment.
Oh no.
They're walking, so it's Gregory Peck. It is Lee Remick.
Don't even, oh my God, I know what you're going to say. Did you think it was like a real dog or something?
Yes! Christina! I wrote, that's the fakest dog. And then I wrote, it's a toy. Did you think that too?
No, I did not. But I did write.
Because she's walking it like a dog.
I wrote, how strange, walking in a field with family and pulling a plastic dog.
It's weird.
It's really weird.
And how about this? They still have the dog, and they're like, wait, where's Damien? Like, they, like, lose him.
They were, like, pulling the dog.
They're like
no.
There's a plastic dog toy that they're dragging on the ground, and I honestly thought it was a real dog for the first couple of seconds, because it's very idyllic. Like, you have all this beautiful landscape, and they're just walking along, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the fakest dog I've ever seen. And it's a toy. Intentionally a toy, I should clarify.
Yes.
But I thought that was really funny. One thing about Damien, I didn't mention this. Do you remember Damien being like an insult? Do you remember that? Like, do you remember being like, okay, Damien? Like, anytime there's a bratty little kid, you'd be like,
well, this
okay,
movie,
Damien.
It's like so iconic.
Yeah.
I have a friend whose husband's name's Damien, and so I was talking to her. I'm like, oh, I thought of Damien today because we're rewatching the Omen, and she was laughing, and she's like, yeah, she goes, everybody kind of made fun of him because his name was Damien.
Yeah.
And, he's like, she's like, he hated it. But it was kind of funny. I'm like, why would someone name him Damien? But it must have been before, because he's a little bit older. I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, he was born before
I
that.
would love to see the stats on people named Damien before 1976.
Right.
And then after, because no one. Oh, my God. So, one of the vivid things I remember is, Damien, look at me. It's all for you, Damien. It's all for you.
But you know what's funny? Before it even shows her up there, you just hear her voice. I love you, Damien. I'm Damien.
Yes.
I love you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that the mother? Like, I'm like thinking to myself, who is that saying that? And all of a sudden,
oh my God,
you see her up with, it's all for you, Damien. And she jumps off the roof, hanging
at the children's
herself. At a children's party that reminded me a lot of Mommy Dearest, by the way.
100%.
Yeah.
Huge budget on that birthday party. I thought Lee Remick's reaction was so real feeling to me.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, that is the appropriate reaction.
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God, that was awful and terrifying. And I think even just the direction of it, the way all the kids were scattering and people and the adults
and
being
everyone
frozen.
Was and they were frozen. They just
the
standing
kids
there
were
like
running, and the adults were like scared to death.
Just
they didn't know what else to do.
They were
like,
shocked.
What the hell just happened? Yeah,
they were shocked. Oh my god! So yes, absolutely.
Which does beg the question. This is one of my negatives. Is why all of a sudden?
Yep.
Because he didn't turn 6 years old. Like, I thought, that would be something if, like, he was born June 6th.
If he turned
right?
6, that would have made sense.
Imagine if he was born, like, June 6th, 1966. Or, like, but he was born at 6 o'clock in the morning. But then he turns 6, and all this fucking shit starts happening. Like,
yes.
Like, because he would turn 6 at 6 a.m. on June 6th. Like, so that, to me, would have been the trigger. But he's turning 5.
Well, and here's something else that I have to say here, okay? Throughout the whole movie that I'm watching it this time around,
yeah,
not once does it really seem like the child is doing anything.
So, I did a little research on that.
Okay.
So, the people involved in this, the producer, the director, they had very different feelings of how, like, what to do about this, because one of the producers felt very strongly, maybe the writer and one of the producers felt strongly that, you guys, I'm going to get this wrong, but here are the two camps. It's either the director and the producer or the director and the writer felt differently. But one thought it would be really cool if you could watch this movie twice and really not know if he had anything to do with this at all.
Yeah.
And that he's just this little kid who has temper tantrums. Like,
well, that's exactly what happened to me.
Oh, this time around.
Watching this, I'm like, I don't know if this boy even did this stuff.
But the tricycle...
The tricycle?
On the
okay,
stairs.
So this is
yeah.
what I...
Okay, yeah.
This is my take on this. The dog shows up. That changes everything.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you see is the nanny being hypnotized by this dog.
Yeah.
And then jumping off the roof.
Yeah.
Damien had nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. Except for the fact that she was like, I love you. Oh. This is all for you.
Yeah.
The dog is the one that made her do that.
Yeah.
The tricycle... Mrs. Baylock made him do that.
Yeah.
Mrs. Baylock was the one that was looking at him, almost willing him to do it.
Yeah, so it was almost like a conduit of like this like evil energy.
Yes.
In a weird way. And that's really only in that one situation.
Yeah, he was nowhere to be found. He wasn't even in the room when the mother ended up getting pushed out the window.
So part of it
Baylock was there.
That's right. And part of this was they were saying, like, what if this is just a bunch of coincidences? Like, bamboos go crazy. The other thing was, like, the kid...
He was crazy about going into church.
He didn't like church.
But he was just with Mrs. Baylock, who was saying he's going to go to the park instead. Yeah. He doesn't want to go to the church. You didn't see him saying, I don't want to go to the church.
Right.
It was her. So she could have basically hypnotized him or whatever she's doing. She could have done that to him to say, church is bad, church is going to hurt you, and that would make him freak out when it started going to the church.
Yeah, yeah.
The baboons and stuff, that I don't understand. I don't think he made them do that. Why would he make them do that? They felt his energy. Yeah.
You see, well, here's my take. He scared the giraffes off.
Yeah.
Which giraffes?
That was funny. Yeah.
But the baboons at first they were afraid of him, like the giraffes were, because he's the son of Satan or whatever. Then the baboons realize, we're attacking this evil because there's so friggin' many of them. Mm-hmm. By the way, Lee Remick did not really know how the baboons would react. Do you know what they did?
What?
So behind the scenes, they covered the roof of the car with meat.
Oh my God!
For the baboons to eat, and they took one of the baby baboons from the pride and put it in the car.
Oh my God!
With a monkey handler. And they were driving around until the baboons got angry.
That is really irresponsible.
That
is very irresponsible.
She was very upset about it. She did not know how they were going to truly react. She thought they would jump on the car, but that screaching and really...
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah, she was really good.
Gregory Peck was good in this,
He was very good, too. Yeah.
I was glad to see... I kind of forgot... I knew that they were in... I haven't seen anything else with them in it, to be honest. I know that they were accomplished actors.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that they were good in it. You know what I mean? Like, it was... Because sometimes you hear like some of these movies and you're like, you know, it's... Maybe the movie is more famous than the actors.
But you know what was different about this, and I think you'll agree, is that they were really beat up in this movie. Like, and that's something you don't see very much. Like, you don't see... Is that true? You don't really see, like, Meryl Streep getting beat up in a horror movie.
Right. There's
a
lot of...
them. But it's like, but these are, you know, like you're saying, these are award-winning movie stars.
Yes.
And... God, they push Lee Remick. They have her beat up in a car by her son. They have baboons chasing her. Then they have her fall off a railing. Then they have her in traction. Like, it's like, and then they push her out a window. I mean, it's like she's really being put through the paces. And then the same, Gregory Peck, he is a movie star. They have him dogs attacking him. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's like, it feels, and something with that, because they're like these movies, you know, sort of glamorous movie stars, when you see them being tortured and beat up, suddenly it's like all bets are off. Like, because it's like, oh shit, no, they can actually get hurt. Like, they're not real. Like, they're not like just like parents living in the beautiful house and what on earth is happening?
Right.
Like, you could sort of say that about like Ellen Burstyn, although she wasn't a huge star for with The Exorcist, but like she sort of has that like the concerned parent. Mm-hmm. Like, but no, these people are tortured throughout this movie.
Yes.
So, especially Lee Remick's character. So,
no, it's okay. To kind of complete my thought on the boy, I felt like it was Mrs. Baylock pulling the strings on all this.
Yeah.
And is it? And I'm sorry if I'm fuzzy on this, but is it later revealed that she is Damien's mother?
No. Wait, no.
Mrs. Baylock?
She is?
Okay.
What are they? Well, they find. They found like a dog. They found like dog bones.
It was an animal in what her grave should have been.
Yeah.
It's an animal, so there's no person in that grave.
Right.
My take, and that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't think it was ever revealed to be that, but I kind of put two and two together and said, that Mrs. Baylock is Damien's mother. That's his birth mother. Because
the whole point of this was like they wanted to get Damien into a house with powerful people.
Yes.
People with government ties, leadership, power. Mm-hmm. And this guy's in line to be the president.
Yes.
You find that out early
ambassador.
on. He's the ambassador. Yep. And everyone loves him. He's very highly regarded. And so what better thing to do than get Damien into that house? They kill the baby. The baby did not die in childbirth. They actually killed the baby.
And did you see? It was like...
a hole in the head.
I mean, honestly...
That upset me.
That upset me too.
Oh.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
You're shooting an infant in the head? Can't you just suffocate it? Like, honestly?
Christina, you're scaring me.
No, I'm just saying, are you kidding me with this?
Oh, but you see, at least you said a gun. I thought they bashed its head in.
I thought it seemed
because
like a gunshot.
They're satanic. Are they going to shoot or are they going to
Yeah, it was very disturbing. And I guess obviously you have to have some sort of something to show it was murdered or not just died. Yeah. Like, I get that. But it was like, really?
Mrs. Baylock as the mother. I did not think of that. I don't know what I thought.
It was never really spoken
and
about.
Honestly,
and maybe I don't know if it was ever talked about in the sequels. I've never seen any of the sequels.
Oh, that's true. I didn't have any of it. Excuse me, I haven't either.
But I was waiting for that conversation, like that realization that his mother is alive.
That's when they say that, right? Don't they say like his mother's alive? And then he says, "Let me see if my son's. Let me see if this is empty. That means that my son is still alive somewhere." That was really sad.
That was so
fucking sad.
Oh my god, that was really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's his son, and he didn't die. He was murdered. Oh my god, a little baby.
A little baby.
Yeah, temper tantrum in the car was very, like, spastically 70s. It was a little scary.
Yes.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like that scene at all.
Yeah, it reminded me too much of Work. No, I'm just kidding. And
then let's talk about Mrs. Bay. Is it Baylock or Baylog?
I thought it was Baylock.
I thought it was Baylock. I didn't have my subtitles on.
I think it was.
Let's look it up. Let's end the mystery right now. I fucking hated her. I hate her. I don't even know how. When she's like, here are my references. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. You are scaring the shit out of me just by breathing.
She walks in the house and she's like, I think I should see him alone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so, lady.
I don't think so.
And they let her.
I know.
And then they're like,
actually,
where'd you find
Christina,
her? Wait, they let her?
No. Remember, The mother does not want that.
And then
the
he
father
says it's okay.
It's okay.
And then they have like a little side conversation like, oh, where'd you find her? She seems great. Which, not really. And he's like, oh, I thought you found her. They're like,
Oh, God. What did you say her last name was?
Baylock?
You're right.
Oh,
I thought you were saying Baylock. It's Baylock. I thought it was Bayloff. Yeah, Billy Whitelaw is the actress's name.
She was
Mrs. Baylock.
scary as hell.
So scary. By the way, the nanny, who killed herself,
Nanny, yeah.
Jack Palance's daughter.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
But Mrs. Baylock, yes, that whole sequence on the staircase, like so. She's like, well, Kathy says, I'm going to call for references. And she's like, of course, Mom. Or whatever she says. And hands her, she's like, and here are my, no, I'm going to call, nope. She said, I'm going to call to confirm.
The agency.
And she said, agency. She said, here are my references. And she's like, oh. And then, but I'm telling you, it was mostly Robert. Once again, Robert, in his judgment, is making all these wrong decisions for his family.
It's in the 70s, and he's got the final word.
Yep, and she just smiles. But she does.
Does she call the references? I don't think she does.
Does
she call the agency? I don't think she does.
Robert said don't.
If she did, guess what? She wouldn't be there because she's actually Damien's mother. I'm telling you, I'm convinced.
I believe you. That could be it. That could be the whole secret. Okay. I love... Whatever. I love how they have the most bizarre... yes. Oh my God. This is true. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I love how they have the most bizarre, horrific things occur. Suicide, tantrum, like a crazy tantrum, a monkey attack. And at the end of each night, this is the dialogue. Are you okay? Yeah. Like, really? Really? Like, they're like wrapping up for the night. They're getting ready for bed. Are you doing okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Except...
Until...
And then Kathy talks about fears. But Kathy, being a woman of the 70s, thinks the problem is all her.
Yep, that's right.
And she's going to go to a therapist.
That's right.
And then I believe she says, please let me go. And
it's
Robert,
very, very middle-aged lens.
Yep.
All these things.
Oh, I don't like that.
Mom.
Didn't like that business at all. And then he says, I'm going to do an impersonation of Gregory Peck.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Drum roll, please.
She says, I'm not going to do her. She says, I have fears. I really need a psychologist or a therapist. And he says, Kathy, of course I will. I'm like, oh, that's real big of you.
That's so nice
Your
of
wife
you.
was
Thank
almost
you,
attacked
Dad.
by monkeys. She was beat up by your son, and he knows the truth that that's not even her real son. Like, it's like she should not have to ask permission for anything.
No,
it's her
she
mental.
really shouldn't.
It's her mental health.
Yeah, I did feel like he loved her, which was weird,
totally.
right? Like, I did feel like they had a pretty good relationship.
Gregory Peck, a little bit of history here. Gregory Peck was semi-retired when they approached him.
Oh.
It's actually quite sad. Oh. So, Gregory Peck was semi-retired, and this was a big deal for him to come back to film. His son had recently committed suicide.
Oh my God.
And his agent encouraged him to take the role to throw himself into this work.
Wow.
And that's why he did it. And so
but
he
of
came
all
out
movies
of retirement.
Couldn't have done a romantic comedy, for God's sake?
You know,
You're talking about killing a son?
You know what, though? It's about religion. It's about death. It's about darkness. And suicide's pretty dark. And maybe it's like... But I'm telling you, that suicide with the nanny. I'm like, I mean, maybe it's about him kind of coming to grips with that.
Maybe. That seems a bit rough.
That's rough.
That's rough, yeah.
So, but then... do you have any... I'm sorry, I talked a lot.
No, it's okay. No, I don't think you're talking too much.
Okay.
I do like how the mom does stand her ground with the nanny.
Some of my favorite scenes. My favorite scenes.
She knows what's going on, I think.
Christina.
Right?
She
I
does.
felt that way.
Think about what we watched very earlier episode of Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yes.
And how wimpy that mid-90s Annabelle Oscura was toward Rebecca De Mornay.
Right.
It's like, you need to get good grip on your household. And by the way, Kathy has like a small army of a staff.
Yes.
She doesn't even have to be that concerned. She has someone to be concerned for her.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, she is a mother and she is the head of that household.
That's
She's
right.
the matriarch. And she is not letting Mrs. Baylock
No, she's
out-talk her or anything like that.
not at all.
You know why? Because Robert's not in those scenes.
That's right.
So she has the power.
That's right.
And Mrs. Baylock doesn't like that at all.
No, she doesn't. So then Miss Baylock decides to get a dog. That dog shows back up. So I think Mrs. Baylock and the dog are basically, those are the ones that are pulling the strings for Damien.
And there's a dog in the grave.
Yes. It was some sort of animal.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's unclear.
And then I also liked how he stood up to Mrs. Baylock. So I really liked part of it a little bit on the dog part.
But it didn't happen.
But he says,
yeah.
He says he doesn't want the dog. He wants the dog out.
Yeah.
And he says, we don't need a dog. And if we do, I'll pick him out myself.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that too.
Great.
But she doesn't actually get rid of the dog.
Oh my God! The second time, I think.
But he's not around to notice it until the second
time. But there were a couple times, like, and then when the dog sits up behind the stuffed animals, which I have to be honest,
scared the crap out of you.
Fucking scare me.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't scare me. It was like, oh, like I did not.
The dog. The dog's there.
I didn't remember that at all. I remember the dog, of course, but I didn't remember like the dog being in the room, like, and sitting up behind the stuffed animals.
Yeah.
I did love the Windy Woods scene with the priest. I thought it was done really well.
Oh, it was done really well.
1976, really nice.
I have to ask you one question too before this, because this is the note I wrote right before it.
Yeah.
Are we sure the photographer isn't the devil? This is something I said at the very beginning of the movie. He's at every death. He's taking pictures of everybody right before they die.
True.
It was like, all of a sudden I'm like a private investigator watching this movie. I'm like, wait, because I forgot about the photographer being around at the end. Like, I forgot a lot about his role in this whole movie. Mm-hmm. And of course he's one of the ones that kind of ties it all together. So I feel bad I forgot about him. But he's taking pictures of everybody. He's kind of stalking. He's lurking. Very strange. And I'm like, is anybody questioning the photographer? Like, no one's questioning this stuff. But anyway, and then that leads into the priest.
Yes. Well, about the photographer. What I didn't like about that was like when he broke the camera and was like, "You owe me one." That would have been my like. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm going through a lot. I don't want to owe anyone anything. I'll just buy you a damn camera. Thanks.
But
but I was glad that Robert had that support because he had no one after
thank God.
Kathy was in the hospital.
Thank God. The wind, that
was so cool.
All that, but before that, so he's like, I need to talk to you. You know, come meet with me, blah, 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 blah. So he meets with the priest in the woods. And I'm like, I was so frustrated with that scene because all he's doing is talking in rhymes and reading.
I hated that too.
Priest, tell him what's going on in real language.
Tell him how it affects him.
Just tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
I said, how can you take him seriously if he's talking in rhymes and sounds like a crazy person?
He comes from the Reese Terminator school of breaking future news.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's like I don't need to hear a Bible verse. And actually, Robert says that, by the way. It's like, I don't know why the guy is so slow on the draw with that. It's like, just be like, your son is not your son. You know it. Yep. And he is being used as a vessel for satanic purposes. Yep. His goal is to kill your whole family. That's right. The point.
Tell us what's going on.
Believe me.
What's interesting is the first priest visit.
Yeah.
When he showed up
in the office
and he was yelling and everything else. Did you notice? He says right in the middle of everybody breaking in, the priest goes, "His mother was a." Yeah. And he gets interrupted and he never finishes his sentence. And I'm like, "Oh what?
Yeah.
Oh what?"
Yeah.
He never finishes his
Did you look it up?
No.
Oh.
No, but maybe that's,
See, that sucks because I played it back.
You did.
Oh, and I didn't, and I don't have I don't know why, Hulu, I can't get the subtitles, closed caption on. And, but yeah, he's like, his mother was a... And it's like they bust in. It's like, wait, what?
What was it? What was it?
Damn. I'm going to have to look it up.
I'm telling you. So anyway, but then, yes, then he gets murdered. What a way to go. What a way to go.
It was quick, though.
It was quick.
But, yeah.
But then he's just like...
Just standing
It was like a
there.
stand. It was like a scarecrow.
Very scary.
Very scary.
I did write at one point, is Robert the worst husband in the world or just the dumbest? I do feel like there were points where I'm like, Robert, you have to get a little tough, buddy. Like you have to maybe lock fire Mrs. Baylock. There are other nannies. Like, especially when she's like, your entire staff walked out on you and they want their pay by the end of the month. But don't worry, I am just a woman you barely know, and I will run everything from here. No, bitch, you won't. No, you won't.
Hello, ever since you showed up, all this fucking crap is happening.
Everything's awful.
Nobody's putting that together. They're immediately just going to stick
the dumbest or the worst.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So they're immediately going to accuse their 4-year-old child, who hasn't done anything up until this point. And now Mrs. Baylock shows up. All the shit starts happening. The priest goes crazy. All this stuff is happening. And they immediately blame the child and not Mrs. Baylock. I don't understand how she slipped through the cracks. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. They should have had a scene of her, like, hypnotizing them or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was very shocked to hear this whole abortion storyline going on.
You were... Sorry, I missed the word
I was
you used.
shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked that they would even talk about it. I mean, this was the 70s, I understand, but still, she becomes pregnant, and she wants an abortion.
Yeah. I'm only laughing because it's something I just read in my search for the mother. Okay, Christina.
Oh,
it says his mother was not a woman, but a jackal.
Oh, okay.
Damien's new nanny, Mrs. Baylock, a demon from hell, helps to guard him along with a black dog. So his mother was an animal? That's right. That doesn't make no sense.
No, his mother didn't die. They put a jackal in the coffin instead.
Right.
I did think it was funny that after the priest dies, there's a picture of him on the front page, like murdered, like that actual scene of him standing there, like stabbed.
They would not have done that. Or maybe maybe were they Italy or England?
Well, who was there taking the picture of it? Like, come on.
Well, who do you think?
Well, obviously.
But Christina, exactly right. Mrs. Baylock only brought bad trouble. Let's talk about the abortion. Like, it's so layered because you find out, if you are to believe you're Robert, she's pregnant again.
Yes.
And he doesn't know. And not only that, it's with someone that is going to put an end to the satanicness. So therefore, Damien and Mrs. Baylock want to kill the baby.
Right.
And then kill Kathy.
Yes.
So it's a lot for him to take in, which I understand. But it's like, and then when she says an abortion, like, in a weird way, it does solve some of the problems. For starters, it's her fucking choice. For seconds.
Back then it was?
No. But now I'm talking now. Yeah. Middle-age lens.
Yes.
But even back then, technically, it should have been. But it's not back then. So she, wants an abortion. And again, just like the psychiatrist, she has to ask him for permission. And please let me. And he basically tells someone else, absolutely not. She's not having an abortion.
Yeah.
I am going to control this situation, which he does not.
Does not.
She falls.
If she had an abortion, she would probably still be alive.
That's right, because they wouldn't have to have killed the baby. Right. Oh, her pregnant, or, her unborn baby. But Mrs. Baylock and that whole thing with the step, that's when I was like, okay, Robert needs to get her out of the fucking house, separate her from Damien, and call in for some family, some reinforcements, get Kathy the hell out of there and figure something out. Mrs. Baylock, who is the most suspicious person in this whole story. God. You left her in charge of the house.
She even looks suspicious. Like, it's not even like she looks sweet. She is scary as fuck.
Yeah, she is. Oh my God in heaven. Okay, so I laughed out loud. Here's when I laughed.
I laughed too, but go ahead.
So that's a couple times with Damien when they played the evil music, and it was just Damien's face. I laughed. I laughed out loud when Robert and the photographer finally find the priest that was responsible for this awful situation with the babies, right?
Yeah.
And the priest, like, he sees the priest's full face. The priest is seriously burned on one side of his face. And Robert is like...
He gasps! Yeah.
He, like, fucking pukes in his mouth a little bit. And I just wrote, no offense.
Right? Oh my God.
Really?
Pull yourself together.
Your nanny kill herself. You've seen some other probably horrific things.
Oh my God.
And that, like, someone's burned face makes you, like, throw... He, like, truly, like gags in his mouth.
Oh my gosh.
It's so gross.
What I thought you were going to say, what made me laugh,
tell me,
was they go into the room. He and the photographer go into the room of this priest, and all around every wall has like 40 crosses all over it, right?
Yes.
Crosses, and every inch is covered.
Yeah.
And he says, do you think he's trying to keep something out?
Yeah.
Like, you think?
They're not detectives, Christina.
Oh my gosh. I busted out laughing when he said that.
And they've never seen a horror movie before.
It's like, what do you... No, I think he's totally sane and totally happy.
But I think, too, it's like... Also, for me, it was like, all that 666, what does it mean? What does it mean? Did the Omen... I mean, I know the 666 has existed for, eons. But was the Omen the thing that, like, pushed 666 into the public lexicon, if you will?
Yes, I believe it is.
And it's the devil, the Antichrist, and the false father, who is Satan.
Yes.
So, yeah, I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know what they signified. A big plus for me is the makeup artist. And I was curious, I wonder how Christina's feeling right now. Between Kathy's bruises, especially the one when she lands on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
The crazy exhausted priest, like he looked crazy and really tired.
Yes.
The burned bad eye.
Yeah, they did a nice job with the special effects.
The beheading, even.
Oh my gosh, the beheading! I forgot about that. I don't know.
No way in hell did I forget about that.
I completely forgot about that. I don't think I was in the room, but I swear to God, I think I left in the middle of it.
But I will say, I thought I was really impressed by the makeup. And again, we've talked about this, like things not matching the time they're released in quality. But I mean, this is at least 4 years? 4 years before Friday the 13th, which you had a lot of problems with the makeup.
Yes.
This. I'm sure the budget was considerably different. But the makeup here I found to be, like, really strong, even now, by today's standards.
Yeah. I just have a note. Did they have to visit the cemetery at night? I mean, they couldn't have had, like, a nice night's sleep and wake up in the morning and see it.
A valid point. Did it start off a little lighter out and then got darker, or no?
No, it was night. It was like nighttime when they started walking in.
Creepy.
They don't even know what they're looking for. They don't have a name. They're just looking for a date on a cemetery that's essentially ruins.
Yeah.
Did they even have a flashlight?
There's also a weird light. Yeah, that's a really good point. But also, the other thing that happened was he said, "Who would ever want to be buried here?" And it's like, it's changed since then. Did you miss that part? It's been 5 years, but they said there's nothing there anymore.
They said it's in ruins.
Ruins
there's nothing
now.
there.
Yes, it's in ruins. So, like, same with the thing that the building that was set on fire. It's like it's the same thing with these ruins. So it's like, yeah, no shit. Who would want to be buried there now? They weren't buried there now. They were buried 5 years ago.
Yep.
Anyway, the death of Kathy was so awful. Like, hasn't this poor woman been through enough?
Well, before we do that, right before that, he calls her, because he's finally figuring out that he needs to protect his wife, which was so nice. A little too late, though. But he calls her, "I want you to leave London right away." And I'm sorry, I had to laugh. She's on the phone. She's in a full body cast. Black and blue, laying there helpless. Like, what does he expect her to do? Yeah. Grab a crutch and be on her way?
I know.
And then he does say, "I'm going to send someone to pick you up," or whatever. But it's like, I just thought that was very funny. I want you to leave London right away. Yeah.
I know. One of her arms is completely in a cast with, like, one of those things. It's like traction, right?
Yeah, it's like traction. She's not moving it.
Her head, her neck is in a thing, a cast or whatever.
She's like completely.
Brace. She is incapacitated, and she takes all her energy to sit up to try and take her shirt off. She gets stuck,
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you know it? In the reflection of the window, crazy Mrs. Baylock is there.
It's crazy. So
right
scary.
on time.
Yep, right there.
And with superhuman strength of the devil, doesn't push Kathy out of the window. She throws Kathy through the window.
Yes.
Kathy falls to her death, landing in an ambulance.
Convenient.
And her arms busting open the back doors, and you see Kathy dead.
Yep.
Very, very upsetting.
It was very upsetting. I was sad that she had to die.
My middle-aged lens, though, she died without knowing the truth.
Yes.
I don't think that would happen. This movie was remade in 2006 with Lee Schreiber and Julia Stiles. I would almost be curious to see it. I wonder if they ever let the mother know before she dies.
I wondered, yeah.
Or if they even let the mother die. Maybe they changed the ending a little bit.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
I will say something else. You know what? I would have liked... It would have been so satisfying. And I think that's something that's missing from this movie a little bit. Is like that... I hate to say this, but... If Kathy had just gotten one really good swing at Mrs. Baylock with the cast, like as a strong mother, being like this, he is my son, and just clobber her. And what if Mrs. Baylock said, "No, he's not," and then she starts beating Mrs. Baylock, but then Mrs. Baylock's eyes turn red and she smashes her through the window.
She said, "No, he's not. He's my son."
Yeah. No, he's mine. Her eyes turn red, and then she pushes Kathy out the window. That would have been good.
And it would have been nice for her to at least suspect Mrs. Baylock from doing all these things.
She knew Mrs. Baylock was awful. It would have been. I wanted a little bit of dialogue and a little bit of a fight. Kathy's tough,
and then she could have killed her because she figured out the truth.
That's right.
Whereas everybody else, or he, the father, is blaming the poor child.
Yeah. Gregory Peck, when he gets the...
Before we go on.
Yeah.
Imagine this. Imagine if the story, the whole movie pointed to Mrs. Baylock.
Yeah.
Almost obviously, right? She shows up at all the wrong times, all the wrong places. Right?
Like Peyton.
Just like that, right? It's all her. And then, that final scene, he turns around and smiles, and you realize it's him that's doing it all. Mm. How much more effective would that be?
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think that would have been more effective.
I suppose I wonder if people would have even connected the dots.
If they did it right, they would have. well, we can talk about the ending in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Go on.
The death of Kathy. I just would have wanted some juicy dialogue, some real good drama.
Yes. And
Kathy finding out the truth, as heartbreaking as it would have been, but just hitting at Mrs. Baylock a couple times with that cast would have been awesome. The beheading, again, going back to the makeup, was awesome. I loved the way that happened. Yeah. I know I did not see that the last time I saw it. That's with the movie. Next note is definitely a middle-aged 2021 lens. Is, I guess, TSA restrictions were a little looser in 1976 since Robert is sitting in his seat with several large daggers in his lap.
Unbelievable.
How did he get through the metal detector?
Right? I don't even think they had a metal detector back then.
Oh my God. Oh,
I have a note that says, so the photographer, this is from before, but the photographer realizes something's amuck because he's seeing pictures and it's predicting the deaths. It predicted the death of the nanny with the noose and the priest with the whatever it was. And then he has a picture of himself with knowing he's going to die. If you were Mr. Thorne...
Yeah.
Would you not want to get a picture of yourself to find out if you're going to die? I mean, I would have been like, can you just take a picture of me and see what I should be looking out for here?
You see, I don't know. You know what bugged me about it was the nanny, going way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
That photographer does take a picture of the nanny standing by herself.
Yeah.
The picture he shows is her like with the children.
Ah.
And I think it would have been even more if it was like, and it's not just that one. I took this one of the nanny when she was standing alone, and look, it's the same line.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a
like,
jump.
You have 3 pictures I'm showing. What if you have a bad camera?
It was a little
So, yeah. But I don't know if they had time for a photo shoot, Christina. There's a lot at stake.
I suppose.
This isn't like Polaroid time. You know,
that's true.
Instamatic.
That's true. That's true.
It's like,
I still would have wanted a picture.
Let's take a picture of you, and they'll go to my dark room.
But they were in the dark room when he saw it. He was showing her the pictures.
That's true. That's right. Yeah.
He could have just done it right then and there.
Fine.
Okay.
I laughed out loud, and I shouldn't have. It's not an appropriate laugh. But when Robert says, "These are knives." Did you laugh? I just laughed. I laughed at that. I don't know why. It's like, I mean, yes, they're knives. And then he throws them. Super irresponsible.
Oh my
He
gosh.
threw a bunch of knives into a crowd.
That was crazy.
Reckless.
That was
Reckless.
crazy.
And
it was kind of funny that the photographer grabs them. Then he dies.
Yeah.
The next scene you see him with the knives again. It's like, I think I'll keep them now.
Oh my god, I didn't fucking think about that.
Oh my god, that made me laugh.
He would have had to have stepped over the beheaded photographer's body to get the knives back. I didn't even consider that. That's really funny. Another Mrs. Baylock moment. Again, this bitch got off way too easy. She's fighting with Robert.
Yes.
Fighting. He knocks her on the ground. He gives her a kick. She gets up again. I'm like, oh my god, just kill this bitch. I honestly said to my TV screen, I couldn't remember how it ended. I'm like, drop the fridge on her, because they're in the kitchen. She's on the ground.
Right.
Oh my god, does he push the fridge on top of her? And I was getting so excited. And no, he kind of leaves her for dead.
Yeah.
And he does stab her, but like, there's not that much blood. And it wasn't even all that violent. Mrs. Baylock,
but a couple of stitches.
That's right. She really got off easy.
Yes.
She really got off easy. I didn't
Well,
like
they
that.
probably wanted to leave it for a sequel.
A sequel or something.
What was I going to say about that? Oh, I jumped a mile when she jumped on him. Did you?
I kept waiting and waiting.
But sometimes that makes me jump even more when I'm waiting and waiting for it. Like I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is it? And but I jumped a mile.
But she comes back. I think when she comes back was when I jumped. Yeah. Okay. And then the ending. And again, I will say the ending I saw.
Well.
Oh.
Do you want to take a break before we?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Let's take a break and then we'll talk about the ending.
Water.
We'll be right back.
Oops. Hey there, it's Brian.
And Christina.
And we have some exciting news. We now have bonus content on Patreon.
If you're a fan of old roommates or simply enjoy revisiting pop culture, we would love for you to check out our page at patreon.com/oldroommates. Patrons of Old Roommates can expect exclusive content such as special episodes, movie recommendations, special videos from us, and bonus content, among other things. Your support will help us to create more content, offset publishing costs, and expand our resources to improve your listening experience.
Whether you become a patron or not, we appreciate your support. Drop us a comment on social media, give us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice, or send us a message at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back talking about the Omen, 1976. One thing we didn't spend any time really even referencing is the death of... sorry, not the death of Kathy. Kathy falling over the railing. Because was, when I was a kid, that was so traumatic for me, I stopped watching it.
Let me tell you, when you were talking about that earlier, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you were talking about it, I'm thinking to myself, you were 12 years old watching this? Is that what you were saying? You were about 12?
Maybe 10 or 12.
10 or 12?
Yeah.
That, to me, I can't imagine being a 10 or 12-year-old seeing a mom fall like that.
And I stopped watching. Yeah.
I don't blame you at all. I'm glad you brought that back up. That's crazy. Yeah, was upsetting.
Christina, I think I stopped it before she even hit the ground. Because I was like, I don't want
to see that. You don't want to see a
No.
mom die.
And she doesn't die.
No, you don't know that when you're 10.
No, you don't know that. And the goldfish fell over. And
oh, God, very dramatic.
Yeah, and when I finally did see, like, say, the whole thing in, like, my, whatever, 20s or 30s, early 30s, like, I mean, to me, I was like, that is done so well. Like, you just think she's dead. Mm-hmm. You think she's dead. And it's all done really well. That fall?
I have to tell you, one of those things, the production of this movie, I don't know what you have for a budget. I don't know if you wrote that down. But they did this movie really, really well. The special effects, the videography.
Yeah.
Just, even like the music, like that first music, it's like operatic and super creepy.
Funny you mentioned that.
Oh,
yeah. So the budget was $2.8 million. Nothing.
Okay.
Very, very, I mean, nothing. Made $60 million. It was the sixth highest grossing film of 1976. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, one for original score, which it won. So
wow.
0 points, so I'm bringing that up now. And by the way, Jerry Goldsmith has been nominated 18 times. So he had some before and after The Omen. He's only ever won for The Omen. Mm-hmm. And it was also nominated for, this is so random, for original song. For Ave Satani, which is like Ave, like Satan, like basically.
Oh my gosh!
And the song is so weird. It's like there's nothing. It's not something. It's not something you can actually sing along to. It's bizarre, but it's like it's so funny that the Academy was like, yes, that's a good song. Like that's like a song to nominate. But it did win. It won 1 Oscar. It got 2 nominations. And, yeah, the music is very effective.
Yes, very, very effective.
And I want to quickly say, this is interesting. I didn't know this is a Richard Donner film. So Richard Donner...
Yes.
Get this. So he made... This is his 4th film.
It's so funny, right? All the other different ones.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, so it's like... It was his 4th film. I hadn't even heard of the other 3 he made. Superman. So he made this in 76. Mm-hmm. Superman, 78. The Toy. Richard Pryor. 1982. The Goonies, 1985. All the Lethal Weapon movies.
That was what made me laugh. The Lethal Weapon movies.
Scrooged.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Scrooged.
So, I mean, really, it's so wild.
That is wild.
And what else?
So what about the ending? Let's talk about the ending real quick.
Yeah. So fucking frustrating. So frustrating. And was he even driving that recklessly? It seemed like they were annoyed that he didn't, wave to them. It was very weird. Yeah. He was like, hey! It's like, what, because he didn't wave back at you? And also if it's like, I just don't know if they would have chased him.
Yeah, it was a really strange, kind of a bad ending, I think. Yeah. But it is what it is. I thought...
And they couldn't have him kill the kid. Although...
That was...
It would have been more satisfying.
It would have been. I kind of forgot if he killed the kid at the end. I was like, is he going to kill him? Like, how does this work? But the fact that he was planning to kill him, and he had the knives up in the air, and then he had to move his, and then he's like, Daddy, Daddy, and I'm like, oh, Jesus.
By the way, the kid has never spoken.
That was one word.
Has Damien ever even said a word at this point? So, he says... Daddy, please, or whatever. And doesn't Gregory Peck or doesn't Robert say, God forgive me?
So yes, yeah.
So, I mean...
It was very,
But how to be convinced of that? In the whole movie, you're like, of course, you have to kill this Satan kid.
Right.
But it's like, but then it's like in that moment, and the kid says, Daddy, and you're like, oh, jeez.
But then you get to the funeral. Didn't you think it was the father and the son in the coffins? Like, I kind of forgot that Kathy needed to be buried, because the next scene was him with, it was like 2 coffins. Yeah. And I thought it was both of them.
Oh, no, yeah, it was Kathy and him, yeah.
And I forgot. And then it was like, and then you show him at the end. And I don't know. It was, I think they could have done better.
What would you, like, you would have, had the kid, like...
I still think that the whole movie should have been questioning whether or not he was even... Okay. Like, almost questioning it to the point where you're not sure, like, Gregory Peck was right about it. and be like, oh, no, maybe he shouldn't kill him. You know, that kind of thing.
So you want like a basic instinct.
And have him, kind of. And then have him not kill him. Like have him get killed instead. And then at the end have that evil, like an obvious sort of evil smile.
What if they're at the funeral?
Yeah. Go ahead. No, sorry.
What? No.
No, I was just going to say, and have Miss Baylock. Like,
or they're at the funeral, everyone's leaving, and the president and the first lady and Damien are standing there, and you hear, woof! And the little kid turns, and way up on the hill is the dog.
Oh, boy.
And the little boy just waves to the dog.
Oh, that would be good.
And the dog walks down the hill, and you see Damien smile.
Good one. I like it. I like it a lot. Because nothing was resolved with the dog.
Nope.
The dog is still walking around.
Well, he's probably just in the basement trying to get out.
He probably got out if he had those magical powers.
I'm sure he did, because Damien probably said, my dog!
Well, because dog spelled backwards is God.
Christina, is there anything you don't know?
Nothing. Not a thing.
So what do we think? More? Less? About the same?
It's, it's kind of tough for me. I guess a little more because, well, here's the thing. I wasn't a big fan of the middle part.
Okay.
I thought it was slow. It kind of lost me.
But you know what's different with the middle part is that's the part without Damien. Did you
notice
that?
Yes, and that's the part. I was like, when are they getting back to the kid?
Okay.
Like, that was where I struggled with the middle part. It was like, I felt like it was a lot. It was a lot of dialogue. Like, you sort of just want the scary stuff to keep happening.
Yeah. And
it wasn't. So... And that was the other thing. The photographer gets killed. Was Damien in that? Nowhere to be found. He's never around at the murders.
Christine, I think your maternal instincts are getting the better of you. Damien is Satan's spawn, and you just have to accept it. Take my word.
But Mrs. Baylock is Satan.
True. Is she?
Yes.
The world may never know.
So the world probably knows in one of the sequels. So... I would say, okay, so I thought the middle was slow, but I think I missed the whole middle last time. So I think I probably felt like it was the last time too. So I guess I would say I like it more. I think I understood a little bit more now, and I was probably not like drinking. Yeah. Like I know I wasn't drinking this time. So I think I kind of caught more of it. If my
middle-aged lens.
Oh. If my hypothesis, theory, is true that Mrs. Baylock is really controlling everything.
So I liked it more, for sure. And there's a really interesting thing that we've not touched upon, that every major adult character dies. Where do you ever see that in a movie?
Right, you're right.
Only Damien lives. And so you have Lee Remick murdered off, Gregory Peck killed. Like these are like the good. These are the good guys.
The photographer.
All the good guys. The good guys are all dead, which leads you to believe is this Armageddon. All the good are dying. The good people.
Even the jackal died.
Evil, and I wrote my note is evil wins. Evil won.
Evil.
And I wrote, this is some fun dark stuff. And I wrote the special effects and makeup are really quite decent for this. And I wrote still.
Yeah, I was impressed with the production of it. The whole production was great. We should mention on Patreon this week.
Yes.
If you're a member of Patreon, of Old Roommates on Patreon, it's patreon.com/oldroommates. We have written up a little recommendation/review of some of our favorite horror suspense movies, just in time for Halloween.
For sure.
So take a look. Brian did 3. I did 3. I think you'll enjoy the choices that we wrote up.
Yes. I do have more trivia.
Oh, let's hear it.
Sorry, I just turned my page on. I have more. Sorry. But yes, Patreon. So anyway, the original title, they were torn between 3. The Antichrist, the Birthmark. So glad I didn't go with that. And the Omen.
That wouldn't have been as successful, I don't think.
You are going to be shocked with the 2 people in the running, or actually, there were 3 actually in the running for Gregory Peck's role. Roy Scheider, who would have been right off of Jaws, because Jaws was 75. This is 76.
He might have been pretty good.
I think it would have been good.
Yeah.
The next one is going to blow your mind.
Oh boy.
Dick Van Dyke.
Oh my gosh.
They wanted it to be like, because it's so dark, they wanted it to be like, let's put Dick Van Dyke through something very real and serious. Oh,
wow. That would have been... No, I wouldn't have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I think that would have been too disturbing.
And then here's what's funny. William Holden is an actor that doesn't get brought up too much lately anymore. But he was in the running. It could have been his if he wanted it. And he turned it down and he said, I don't like all of the Catholicism and religion in this. Catholicism is very important to me. Guess who starred in The Omen Part 2? William Holden.
Are you kidding?
So it's like, yeah. Oh, but I do have some really quick things because much like Poltergeist, there was some cursedness to this production.
Oh, okay.
So here we go. Gregory Peck and David Seltzer and executive producer Mace Neufeld were on planes that were struck by lightning during the production of this.
During the production?
Yeah. And the crew had planned to charter a plane to get some aerial shots, but had to switch at the last minute due to a scheduling conflict. The original plane they were supposed to be on ended up crashing, killing everyone on board.
Oh my gosh.
Director Richard Donner's...
Creepy! I just got chills.
There's more. Director Richard Donner's hotel was bombed by the IRA the day after shooting the safari park scene.
Oh my.
A zookeeper at the safari park was killed in the lion area the day after filming.
Jesus. Did anybody ask Mrs. Baylock what's happening here?
The stuntman, that's really funny. The stuntman standing in for Gregory Peck was attacked by Rottweilers during the graveyard scene. They bit through his protective gear.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah, Rottweilers are pretty scary.
And then finally, and this is very grim, after the film wrapped, special effects director John Richardson and his assistant Liz Moore moved on to do a film called A Bridge Too Far. While filming in the Netherlands, the two were in a serious car accident. Richardson survived, but Liz Moore was decapitated.
Oh my god.
The biggest scene Richardson was involved in The Omen was the decapitation scene of the photographer. Crazy. And the same, very similar stuff with Poltergeist and that whole cast,
creepy,
right?
just in time. Yeah, exactly.
So,
just in time for Halloween, all these creepy coincidences.
So, I have a match game.
Okay, I actually have like a multiple choice.
Do you want to do yours first?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so, Brian, here's my multiple choice question for you. When is it, if you were the Thorne, either husband or wife, you can choose, when would you have fired Mrs. Baylock? 1, or A, when she disobeys the wife versus like the park, going to the park and the church and like insisting on not sending him to the church and like completely disrespected her. 2, or B, when she brings in a stray dog into the house without even asking. Or C, immediately when she insisted on meeting Damien alone.
Is that all of them?
That's it. I just have 3.
Did you already pick for me? This is very easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna choose.
I already wrote mine down, so if you want to say it out loud, you can.
I think for you, I'm gonna say immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how important interviews are for me, Christina.
Yes, that's true.
Firsthand.
That's true.
But I will say, because I didn't like it. She walks into the house. She just acts very domineering. She's not even all that nice. She has these references. The agency center. Da 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 da. She doesn't want us to come with her. That's our child.
Yes.
That's our kid.
Yeah.
We call the shots, and if we say something, you please don't pretend you have a better idea.
Right.
That's wrong. So no, thank you. Bye, Mrs. Baylock.
And just wanted to see him alone to get him that's so creepy to me. Ugh.
Christina, are you ready for your match game question?
I am.
Because
I shut my.
I'm really, really sorry to say.
Oh no.
Things are getting just as scary for Damien's new parents.
Oh no!
Damien's new parents definitely think, or I'm sorry, Damien's new parents are pretty certain Damien is the devil.
Oh boy.
It all started when they brought him to the mall during the holidays, and Damien asked Santa for a blank. They think he might be the devil.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him to the mall.
I got this.
Sitting on Santa's lap.
Ding.
Santa asks Damien what he wants. And Damien asks Santa Claus for
Did you
a blank.
write this down already?
I did. Christina, what do you have?
Of course, he would ask for a pitchfork.
Yes! I originally wrote fire pit. So when I wrote the question yesterday, I wrote fire pit. And then as we're sitting here, I changed it to pitchfork.
Well, because I made you. That was good. That's a great question. I love it.
And be sure to check out our Halloween movie recommendations on Patreon.
Yes.
That is patreon.com/oldroommates.
All right, and that's that for this. And that's it for us in this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And please give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you're interested in more Old Roommates, including special episodes, bonus content, movie recommendations, and more, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com. That's patreon.com/oldroommates. Comments and ideas can be emailed to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Old Roommates.
Thanks again for listening. This is Christina.
And this is Brian. Until next time.